When I was at the US Open, a lot of those guys they don't practice as much, but they focus more on the good reps than the bad reps, where I feel like us, being a little lower level, we focus more on the bad reps than the good reps, if that makes sense. It's financially tough, mentally tough, physically tough, because every tournament you're trying to hit the lottery. Every tournament you're trying to see, oh, can I win the tournament? Random stuff will just come up, like you miss a connection because one flight is delayed, and then you got to rebook tickets, and then doubles partners fall out, and then you got to find new ones.
When you said you're going to start out and start doing this, did you set a goal for yourself?
I feel like goals are very not productive for me. I feel like it's more just you take it week by week, take it day by day. Everyone has the same goal. Everyone wants to make it at the top of the game.
Yeah.
So I try and stay away from big goals because I don't want to limit myself, or I don't want to put pressure on myself to get to this ranking this quickly.
I'm Alex Yang, and this is the How I Decided podcast, a show where regular people share important decisions they've made so that we can make better decisions in our own lives and also figure out what we want from our lives and how we want to live our 20s.
How I Decided.
And if you're new to the How I Decided podcast, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow us on Spotify, and also on Instagram so that you can stay up to date on the newest episodes and spread the word about the importance of decision making in our 20s. My guest today is Pranav Kumar. Pranav had a really impressive career in college tennis before starting out on the professional tennis tour about a year ago. And that's actually when I met Pranav, right as we were starting out. Since then, it's been really awesome to follow his progress. He's won several pro tournaments, and as of this week is up to 330 in the world in doubles. The pro tennis life is definitely not an easy path, and in our conversation, Pranav and I discussed his decision to play pro after college, building self-belief and confidence, and learning to reflect on both your wins and your losses. I do apologize if there's a little too much tennis jargon in here. I'll keep that in mind for future episodes to explain terms and jargon right away. But for now, please enjoy the episode with Pranav and how I decided to become a pro tennis player. Pranav Kumar,
What's up, Yang?
welcome to the podcast. I feel like we've talked about it.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about it, so I'm very happy to be here, my guy.
Yeah, and now that you've done a podcast, recently been a guest on one that I watch, I feel like
Yeah.
you're qualified now to be on mine.
Yeah, because before I wasn't qualified.
No, you weren't ready for this. But no, it's great. And you just came back from a tournament in Vegas. So congrats on making this on mine
Thanks,
there.
man. Yeah, appreciate it.
I think for this conversation, honestly, I think it'd be great first to set the context for pro tennis, because there's people like us or people watching who play tennis, they have an idea, maybe some sort of idea of what that's where they know someone who's played pro. But for someone who's not familiar with the game and how it works at the top level, I think it's important for them to know what that's like. So I guess maybe just talk about this, this past week. You played in Vegas for a challenger. What is that experience like for you? You get in a few days early, you play some matches. How did that all go for you?
I can compare it to futures if that helps you.
Yeah.
I think it was, overall the tournament was great. Played some solid matches, probably should have lost first round, probably squeaked that one out like I was telling you before, but also could have won the tournament, we felt like. And so it was a very cool experience. I think challengers are definitely much more professional events, the way they're run and the facilities that are accessible for players. And then obviously they have live video that you told me you were watching, and a lot of my parents and my coaches could watch, and friends, which is very cool. And for us too, to go back and watch and scout opponents as well. And so in challengers, you don't really have to, a lot of this stuff is taken care of. It's not perfect, it's not like an ATP event. But
And to clarify for everyone, challengers it's the pro level tournament.
Right below. So it
ATP.
usually goes futures, which are, each level has a number, beside the tournaments. If there's a number beside the tournament, it tells you how much points the winner gets. So if you ever hear someone talking about a 15K or 25K, it means that the winner gets 15 or 25 points. And then challengers go, at least on the ATP side, it goes from 50, it ranges from 50 to 175. So 50s are, the most common challengers are 75s, like the one I just played in Vegas. There's some 100s too, some 125s, and then some 50s, and then 175s. Every once in a while, those are a little more rare on the rare side. 50s are more common, but 175s are very rare. And then it goes to 250s, which are then classified as ATP events, and then 500s, and then Masters 1000s, which are all ATP events, and then Grand Slams are 2,000 points if you win the tournament. All the top players play those.
Yeah, like the U.S. Open,
Right.
Grand Slam. So in Vegas, specifically with the level you've been playing at, like the futures and challengers, tell me like about the conditions.
Yeah.
To practice there or prepare for matches.
Right. So Vegas was a little bit of altitude. It was probably like 1,000 odd feet, something like that, a little bit high. A little bit higher than like Dallas and other places. So it's adjusting with tension. Like I went up 1 pound in tension just to be able to keep the ball down. And then just with Vegas, it was very hot. It was like 100 something degrees, but very dry. So not a lot of, you're not really sweating through clothes, but like you're still have to hydrate well because you're losing more than you think because your sweat will literally dry up. And then, so I got there Saturday night. I got there Saturday night because I was trying to sign in for singles, which I didn't get into. But then I practiced Sunday, Monday, played Tuesday, then had a day off Wednesday, played again Thursday, then played again Friday. Then we unfortunately lost, and then I came back here on Saturday.
And let's talk about maybe like sort of when you tell people about professional sports or you hear about someone who's like a pro athlete, like you think about, like I immediately think of like NFL, NBA players, like huge salaries, like a lot of fame and glamour that goes with it. What glamour is there to the pro tennis tour?
I would say the lower levels is not a lot. Probably in my matches I've had it's a very cool atmosphere if there's 20 people there, to be honest. I've had more people sometimes in some big matches, a couple finals, but other than that, you don't really see too much engagement. I think foreign countries do a better job with that, actually, having more people come out, because I think it's more of an interest in tennis, and it's a more respected sport outside the U.S. So, like, a lot of times if you go to South America or Dominican or places like that, they do respect the tennis. Maybe more people come out for the finals and semifinals and stuff like that. I've seen that happen before. Whereas in the States, I feel like a final could be played with 10 people there very easily. And it's very high level. 2 guys playing final of a future is probably like 700, 600 in the world at least. Could be higher, could be lower, but like average could be much higher too. Could be 400, 300 in the world playing finals of futures. And then same thing with challenges, like the one I played in Vegas. There was a couple people out there, which was cool. But then obviously, if you look at the slams, I think if you look at US Open, like they had a couple weeks ago, like it was packed everywhere. So that's what you're aspiring to get to. Of course, you got to earn that in some ways. But yeah, the money's not great too. Like you have to, like I said, you have to earn everything you get in tennis. There's no guaranteed salary, like you said. So it's all based on how you do and what your results are. So it's very much on you. So if you get injured, it's very lucky you got rivered there. Or if little things like that happen that are out of your control.
Yeah. I think you're talking about 600th best player in the world or the 700th best player in the world playing this pro final where no one's watching. To me, I was talking to a friend over the weekend about this, and I was like, imagine he's in med school right now. I was like, imagine being the 600th doctor in the world.
Yeah, but that's a little different. Being a doctor is sick. Like being a tennis player. But I understand what you're saying. Like I think if you're comparing it to other sports, like if you're one of the best, say you're one of the 500 best baseball players, you're probably doing okay. Or if you're one of the best 500 best NBA players, maybe you're not playing in the NBA, but like you're probably playing overseas in Greece and making good, like decent amount of money. Yeah, I completely understand. It's just not the same with tennis, just maybe because it's individual sport. I know golf makes it work a little bit better than tennis. They definitely have more money in there. But yeah, I mean, even the one, I remember playing the 25K here in Dallas, and I'm from SMU, from Dallas area, and no one was watching. So you just get used to that at that moment.
I was watching.
Oh yeah, you were. I know there were a couple people out there, but I remember I think it was one of the matches where no one was there, not a single coach, and I was like, wow, this is kind of tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just part of the sport.
Yeah. So you've played in a good amount of places by now in this this year that you've been doing this. I guess I want to know what's been the shittiest place that you've been to so far, or any like crazy experiences that you've had.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had some crazy experiences. I think the toughest place that I've had to play, where for me was very tough, I would say was Dominican. I've been throughout South America. I'm actually about to go to Africa, so we'll see after a couple of weeks.
I have some news stories there.
Yeah, we'll see if maybe I come back and change my answer, but yeah, I think Dominican for me was the toughest one because and I'm a vegetarian for food, so I think there was very tough to find good food for me, and then the conditions were tough. The place was not the best. I mean, you can make it work for sure. Like I made it work, but it wasn't like I was super excited to be in Dominican those couple weeks, and those were futures too, so it was a little not the same sort of vibe to like playing in the States or being. I wasn't as comfortable, I would say.
Yeah. Is that something you like have gotten used to by now? Is like
For
not
sure.
expecting luxury like
For sure.
hotel?
No,
and,
for
like,
sure. I mean, I never really expected that, but I think it's just more like dealing, like, how do you prepare for that? So, like, bringing maybe more, like, protein stuff for me in my suitcase, you know, having extra bars, extra snacks, extra electrolytes, extra, even if I know it's dry, just bringing that stuff anyway, it really helps. And just, like, I really think that preparation really helped me recently because I've gone to couple in South America, which are great, but they're sometimes not the best for me. And then I feel like I've been more prepared.
I want to shift the conversation now a little bit to you deciding you wanted to play pro tournaments after playing at college. When did you like first think, hey, I want to maybe try this out and play pro?
So I actually really never thought about it. At A&M, it was more like the program is a very pro-cultured program, which means like a lot of like the guys, coaches are very encouraging to play pro tennis, and like they've definitely put that in your head when you walk in the door. Like a lot of my teammates are playing, most of them are playing, they're all doing super well. And so like when you walk in through that door, it's a different kind of environment. Whereas when I was growing up, I just wanted to play to get a good scholarship and get to a good school and then find a job. And then when I went to SMU and then at A&M, I was very realistic, and I feel like I've always been very conscious of what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. So I definitely was like, everyone was talking about pro tennis, but I wasn't really about it at A&M. I was really just trying to get a good degree. I was busy a lot with school. My major was tough. So I really focused on that. And I put a lot of effort on the tennis side as well, but I wasn't playing singles ever. I was playing doubles like very rarely. I would say I was a walk-on redshirt there, so I really had to earn everything I got. And then when I got the COVID year, I was thinking about where I would like to do grad school, and I was thinking which place would give me the best opportunity to do well in my job and get a good career. So I thought Dallas would be great. I've grown up here, and I like SMU. I've heard good things about the program at that time. So then I knew that would be a good place. Also, my parents lived close by, so like they could come maybe watch some matches whenever they had, because they were always very busy. So then I decided to try and pursue that, and then obviously I got the opportunity, and then I did that. And then when I was at SMU, I never really thought I was going to play pro tennis. So then my whole goal was like I was thinking like this is my last 2 years of college, or my last 2 years of tennis, to be honest. So I was like, let me just try and do everything I can to just enjoy it and have fun and be grateful and play. And then I started doing what I felt was better. And then I kind of played a couple futures, did somewhat well. And then I won a doubles future with one of my old teammates. And he did carry me for that future, for sure. But I got like the thought in my head, wow, maybe, I mean, if still in school and having won a future, maybe I should try.
Yeah.
And so I really started to put more effort in tennis. I was putting very good amount of effort, but like the ability to think bigger than just college tennis, think maybe I can make pro tennis work. And then obviously Adam and I got the wild card for Dallas Open, and just playing in that environment too, like we lost a heartbreaker, and we were thinking like, wow, like we could play at this level. It's not that scary at all. So then I played the season, did okay, and then I was like, well, maybe I should just go for it. And then now we're here. So.
Yeah, now we're here. I mean, I like what you said about, because it sounds like it's like something like you don't really know too much about, or you're scared of until you like just go and do it and see that.
Yeah, because obviously the pro tennis it's not an easy life. Like, to be honest, it's financially tough, mentally tough, physically tough. You're traveling a lot. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Because every tournament, you're trying to hit the lottery. Every tournament, you're trying to see, oh, can I win the tournament? Whatever your goals are, depends on where you're at in your career. But you're trying to like make every week the best week, and that can be exhausting. And then for example, I've been here for a total of 8 or 9, maybe 10 days in the last 3 months. Mm-hmm. And so that's obviously not for everyone. And that's not, even for me, that it gets exhausting for sure. And just being on the road, and then you got to deal with just random stuff that I couldn't even tell you, but like some random stuff will just come up. Like you miss a connection because one flight is delayed, and then you got to rebook tickets, and then doubles partners fall out, and then you got to find new ones, or you got to find someone that agreed to stay with you doesn't want to stay anymore, he's not going, and then you got to find out a new accommodation. Like, all that stuff is just part of it, but it is rewarding, I think, if you end up doing well. It's just not for everyone, I would say.
Yeah. When you said I was going to start out, you're going to start out and start doing this, did you set a goal for yourself?
When I first started, for me, I think, I don't know if this is for everyone, but I feel like goals are very not productive for me. I feel like it's more just you take it week by week, take it day by day, and you just focus on what you're improving on. Obviously, I think I have developmental goals and stuff that I'm actively working on, stuff that I'm trying. And when you practice, sometimes I do some wild stuff and like chipping forehands and like hitting super flat.
It's all like very specific.
But it's very thought out in my head, at least. I think so. And so there's a purpose for why I hit every shot and things like that. But I think from the standpoint of goals, I try not to. I mean, everyone has the same goal. I feel like everyone wants to make it to the top of the game.
Yeah.
So it's really, for me, it's really less about goals. It's really more about what you do every day and how you do it, and how you view the game, how you view yourself. So I try and stay away from big goals because I don't want to limit myself, or I don't want to put pressure on myself to get to this ranking this quickly. And then if I don't get there, I feel like I'm like failing, which you don't want to ever feel. You want to keep that confidence, keep that self-belief. So I try and stay away from those types of goals, to be honest.
And that makes sense, especially with the way the season is structured. It's just like, we have a tournament every other week or so. And it's like, I feel like it'd be hard to just think that much bigger than that because like you're just so busy with.
And you also go through like hot streaks, cold streaks. So like you can't get too high when you're doing well, but you can't get too low when you're not doing well. So then for me at least, I just feel if I thought about I need to be this ranking, or I need to get this amount of points, or I need to do this and that it feels rushed, and it feels like just adding pressure for no reason.
Did you discuss with anyone else, like your family, like friends, about like when you were thinking of going pro, like about this and what
about like just being a pro?
Yeah, or maybe people who had already gone pro.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very good relationship with a couple of guys that are, I would say, pretty close to the top. Obviously, we see Krychek a lot. We see Nate. For me, Nate Lamon's been one of my biggest guys that I can text all the time. He texts me all the time just to ask questions and because obviously he's made it through and he's made it past that level. But also, I think part of it is just you got to go through stuff on your own, and you got to figure it out a little bit for yourself, because there's not one solution that fits all, or else everyone would do it. You got to find the stuff that works for you. For me, I talked to my parents a lot. When I was going through it, I was obviously talking to both of them, my sister, and then a couple friends. My coach back at Lakes, his name is Matt Cook. Like, I talked to him a lot. Those are probably the guys that I talk to. But I tried to have one guy like Nate that helps me. It's like a mentor, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. What are you usually asking Nate about?
Usually a lot of specific things, specific stuff with the game of tennis. And then there's a lot of stuff like outside. Like, for example, a big question that I try and ask is about scheduling. Mm-hmm. It's like, how do you schedule things? What makes sense for you? Why do you go to certain places? Why do you think certain places are better, like competition wise, or like how it feels to be out there? Or is it just horrible out there and then you don't want to be out there? What kind of helps you financially? All kinds of stuff. Anything related to pro tennis, I usually try and direct those questions to him.
I didn't know that's like super helpful. Do you think it like helped make like, I guess, choice to go pro easier, knowing that you knew people like that, and also
for sure, yeah,
teammates from A&M as well,
for sure,
you play doubles with now.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I know, like, for example, like now I was looking at the rankings the other day. Like, there are like 5 or 6 guys that I played when we were at SMU or in the American Conference that are like, I think there's 6 or 7 of us that are all top 400, and then there's like all the guys that I played and beat and lost who are all like up there. I know one of the guys that we beat is like 110 and 156, and then 167 and 250 and 280 and 320. And so I think it's nice that I can see that and be like, wow, like a year ago I was beating these guys. So it's cool to be like, and the level's not that far off for me. I feel like it's just very little things about executing in big moments and believing in myself. It's the biggest thing for me. I struggle with that sometimes, but I think I've gotten better at that. And yeah, I think it does help seeing people that you've been around make those jumps for sure.
Right. It's not just someone you've never seen or heard of
Exactly.
who's doing well. You've been able to like see that you've been in the same environment as
Yeah,
them, and
for
that
sure.
you can.
I think I like the environment we have in Dallas, like with me, Adam, Josh, Mitch Kruger, Nate, Austin, probably Hans. I'm missing a couple of guys that are around, but like I feel like all of us, like when we're all here or like practicing with each other, I think that helps. You can see like what one guy's doing well, and then like I mean, all these guys are great players, so like it just helps to see that everyone's pushing each other too.
Like when you go out and compete, you're an individual or with your partner, but whenever you can see each other again, you can.
Yeah, and you can see like
Trade.
the level's not that far away if someone's
Yeah.
higher ranked.
Yeah.
So
I actually had a question planned about belief. Actually,
Yeah.
I guess how has that changed since when you know started out? You know, and is that something that you consciously think about, or just with results over time, it's just been built?
yeah, I mean, I can show you this.
Oh, please do.
So I mean, I like to read decent amount. So I mean, I have this book. So it's about, as you guys can probably see, it's called Confidence: How Winning Streaks and Losing Streaks Begin and End. So I'm not that far into it. I'm probably like 90 pages in.
It's the bookmark.
It's a boarding pass
Is
from.
American boarding pass
Where is it going to? I don't even
from
remember.
from Miami.
Miami to Dallas.
Yeah.
From Dallas. Oh, that was probably on the way to Peru. August 11th. Yeah, that's funny. That's a flight that may be delayed. Actually, I have to miss
okay.
it. Miss the next flight. I don't know why. I should change that bookmark. It's probably not good luck. But no, I got that at Half Price Books. I'm just like little things like that. I feel like reading that helps. I feel like being in those tournaments, being in those moments, and being in big matches at this stage in your career is big. And then I think just like it clicks like randomly here and there. But yeah, I've really focused on like believing in myself with whatever I do, not just tennis,
Yeah.
for the last couple of years. Some things that I'm still not the best at for sure, but yeah, I really try and do that. And then I usually like, for example, I journal almost every day.
Yeah.
I have a tennis notebook in there too, so I have two notebooks, a couple books that I travel with wherever I go, and so like just writing whatever I need to write that emphasize that I'm like I belong at these tournaments and I belong in these moments, and I trust myself in big moments, just like that, being grateful, all that stuff. I think helps with that. That's what it's been helping me so far. This last few
Yeah.
months.
I have a pretty similar system. I just started doing like a tennis notebook. I didn't do that
Yeah.
before, just something to have during matches, and then just another one just for anything not
Right.
tennis related in
sure.
general. And I find the writing super therapeutic.
I think just for me, it's just more like emphasizing certain things. So I feel like it just helps like subconsciously that what I'm writing hopefully will like subconsciously I'll start doing it, if that makes sense. Like just having that written down, writing that down every day, like being consistent with that. I think eventually it'll click in my brain that like those things do matter and that I do believe in myself in a big point or like
Yeah.
in a big match, or like I'm confident that if something goes wrong on the trip, I can figure it out, stuff like that.
Yeah. Just writing into
Into
existence.
existence a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. What do you tell yourself when, say, you've gotten a few bad results in a row? What is
I'm
your
actually,
self-talk?
that's one thing I've been trying to really work on. I was talking to Jerry about this today. I'm still not the best loser. If that makes sense. Like, I feel like when I lose, I feel like I'm like not the best of internalizing it quicker. I would love to be able to internalize it like quickly. I'm more not linger on it, but I can think about it for a while and I can feel myself like just replaying stuff over and over. Especially if for some reason I'm losing early in the week and I have to wait, or if I lose singles, I'm still in doubles, but I'm still thinking about my singles match. I think that's something that I'm trying to work on. The one thing I've been trying to do is, I was talking to Jerry about this, was one of the things that I saw when I was at the US Open was that a lot of those guys they don't practice as much, but they focus more on the good reps than the bad reps, where I feel like we, like us, like being a little lower level, we focus more on the bad reps than the good reps, if that makes sense. So we're trying to be like, we're trying to get to a place where it's like, we can't miss. For example, if you're serving, it's more like trying to get to a place where I'm going to hit the spot every single time, where they're just like, I'm focused on when I hit the spot, not when I don't hit the spot, if that makes sense. Or if I hit a good forehand, like I'm going to remember that forehand instead of be like, wow, I missed 2 forehands in a row. That's 2 points in a match that I would lose. Instead of that, they have a different mentality like that. So I've been trying to do that, and I think that's been helping. And just thinking about really focusing on, like, when I do something well, have that be the stuff that's replaying in my mind and not the stuff that trying to pursue perfection too much.
Yeah, no, I wish I had heard about that earlier, actually, because it's.
I just noticed that when I was like,
I guess, how did you notice that?
so like for background, I did, like, Liam and I did the U.S. Open hitting partner stuff. So like we're just around the pros a lot, and I've been around pros. Like obviously, there's a lot that come through Dallas. There's some that came through A&M, but I felt like being around like the elite guys in singles and doubles, but especially the singles guys, like they wouldn't practice because obviously 3 out of 5 sets, you're not in between like days off or like warming up for matches. You don't want to expend too much energy. You want to get in, get out. But I think those guys just really, if they missed a couple, like they would do a couple good ones, and then they'd be like, they just remember like those good ones. I felt so that's just how I saw it, and I was like, wow, that's very interesting, because then if you think about it, then you don't really have to expend that much energy when you practice. You can just focus on, say you say 8 good reps here, and then you do 8 good reps, and then if you like what you're seeing, then like obviously you want to improve on that, maybe do a little bit more if you're in a training block. But if you're between tournaments and going from place to place, you can't afford to be repping out so many and then being on court for 5, 6, 7 hours, like over a couple of days. Like you can't afford that. Your body's just not going to make it. So you have to be really specific and really efficient. And I think that's how they be efficient. That's how they are efficient, because they just focus on those good reps.
Yeah. So I asked you about bad results. What does you won a 25K like over the summer? What does winning a tournament feel like?
It's a good feeling.
You like the man or what?
No, it's a good feeling for sure. I mean, you feel like you've done something good. Like you're very happy about it. For me, I try not to get too high, like I said before, trying to get too high or too low, but you definitely want to enjoy good things that happen to you in your life. And yeah, so I enjoyed it. I even like the couple tournaments that say we lost in the finals, and you still try and enjoy those moments, because you don't know when the next one's going to be. It's not really guaranteed out there. So I think, yeah, just try and enjoy it, and just you still want to take everything from the match, good, negative, positive, and from the matches and the tournament. But yeah, overall, it was a solid week for sure.
Do you think it's harder to take away things from the match after losing or after winning?
I think I've gotten better after losing. I think the hardest one for me was being able to take the positive things from when you lost. Because you just think about, I missed this overhead, or I missed this volley on a big point, but there's so many points that led up to that point that could have been good.
Yeah.
So I think that's the one I've gotten better at the most recently. But I think that's the hardest one. I think when you're winning too, because some guys say that when you're winning, it's hard to pick up on stuff that you weren't as good at, but I feel like I'm very good at that. I feel like I can feel like, okay, we won a match, but I say I didn't serve well, and then I can pick up on that, and you will see me serving the next day for sure. Yeah. So that kind of stuff I'm better at. I think, yeah, like I said, when you lose, I think picking up the positive things I've gotten better at recently.
That's interesting. I mean, I think that's really valuable to have, is to be able to pick up on things when you're winning, because I imagine for a lot of people, I feel so good about it. It's like, yeah, like I won today, that's like all that really matters. But like at the level you're playing at, with like how thin the margins are, like eventually, that's going to be exposed at one point or another. So I think that's very important. And I think beyond tennis as well, it's even when we make sometimes poor decisions, like maybe sometimes things go our way, but it's like, in order to learn from that, or even good decisions that lead to like poor results, it's like being able to objectively pick up on what you did well and what you didn't. I think is so important. And it's like same goes for tennis. I mean, that's why like tennis is such an analogy.
Sport, it's a good life sport for sure.
Life sport for everything. Yeah. Do you have any like, I don't know, funny stories of being on the road or being pro to share? Like,
yeah, I have. Like the one in Peru was tough. I remember, I know Jody and Justin were giving me kind of shit for coming late. I don't know if you saw the part of the podcast or the videos, but I had one where I took the flight from the book. I took Dallas to Miami, but that flight got delayed like 2-3 hours. So I was like, oh geez. So then I missed, because I had to get my bags and then recheck in, because it was a different airline for the Miami to Lima flight. And so by the time I got to the check-in counter, they were gone. No one was there.
No one was there.
No one was there. So I'm in there like looking, like trying to find people, like dude, like on the, you know, they have those kiosks that you can do it online.
Yeah, like self.
And it didn't work. And so like I'm doing that, and then I'm trying to figure out like there's nobody, like ghost town. So like it's me and this other lady that she was on the same flight, and she just missed it too. And she said she didn't really speak English, so we're trying to figure out how to get it. So then we figured out that the plane was gonna leave without us. So then I spent the night in Miami airport, and we both were just like on two chairs, like next to each other, just watching our stuff. Whoever went to the bathroom, the other person would watch the stuff and stuff like that.
Cute, I guess.
And then I don't know if she fell asleep. I fell asleep for an hour, and then we went on another flight, and then I got there like 10 or 12 hours later than I was supposed to, because I got there Monday night, and I was supposed to play Tuesday, and then I had to ask the supervisor to push me back to Wednesday because I wasn't gonna go to play. And it was like crazy altitude, so it went from like sea level to 8,000 feet altitude, and I had half a day to practice before I played my match, so it didn't really adjust too well, but it ended up working out. So.
Did you tell that woman that you were playing a?
Yeah, because she's from Peru, so she was like, "Oh, we're in Peru," and I said the city was Arequipa, and she's, "Oh yeah, it's so high." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." She's, "Miami's so low," but no. Then the funny part was on the way, because I had to go from Arequipa to New York for the U.S. Open deal. So then I ended up taking 5 flights to get there, which is nuts. I took Arequipa to Lima. Which, by the way, we also played the final of the doubles, and the supervisor was he was so annoying, dude. Like, we were like, "Look, we have a flight at 7:30 p.m., which is pretty reasonable. Say you play the doubles final at 2 or 3, that's plenty of time to finish the tournament and then go to the flight." And he put us last on. We started the match at 7, so we already missed the first flight. So I had to, so I had to rebook a flight like 15 minutes before the match. And I'm like figuring out, like right before we're going on the court, like I'm texting whoever, like try and get the flight. And then so I ended up getting one at 10, and so I took Arequipa to Lima to Bogota to Miami to Raleigh to New York.
Holy shit.
And all within a day. It was nuts. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of other stories. I remember in the Dominican I almost got robbed. That was hilarious.
We can leave that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, maybe that just gives, I think, people the sense of just like how unpredictable some of this stuff can be, and then you're expected to, perform in somewhat of a consistent, predictable way.
No, for sure. But all the players are going through it too, so it evens the playing field a little bit.
I hope my opponent missed his connection.
Well, in Vegas, it's funny. We were talking about, jeez, I hope everyone gambles their money away.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man, for being on.
Of course,
It was a
dude.
pleasure having you.
How I decided